Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We will do presentation about of research. We have three members, namely 1. Regita Triastuti, 2. Ghaida Ayu, 3. Mayla Listya. Tests. Tests are valuable measuring instrument for educational research. A test is a set of stimuli present to an individual in order to elicit responses on the basis of which a numerical score can be assigned. This score, based on a representative sample of the individual's behavior, is an indicator of the extent to which the subject has the characteristics being measured. Achievement test. Achievement tests measure mastery and proficiency in different areas of knowledge by presenting subjects with a standard set of questions involving completion of cognitive tests. Achievement tests are generally classified as either standardized or teacher or research made. Standardized tests. Standardized tests are published tests that have resulted from careful and skillful preparation by experts of cover broad academic objectives common to the measuring of school system. These are tests for which comparative norms have been derived, their validity and reliability established, and direction for administering and scoring pressure. Research methods. The advantage of research methods is that it can be tailored to be content specific, that is, it will match more closely the content that was covered in the classroom or in the research study. Norm reference and criterion reference tests. On the basis of the type of interpretation made, standardized and teacher-made tests might be further classified as norm reference or criterion reference. Norm reference tests permit research to compare individuals' perform on the test to the performance of other individuals. In contrast, criterion reference tests enable research to describe what a specific individual can do, without reference to the performance of others. Test performance range. The range of performance that an achievement test permits is important. Research wants a test sited so that the subject can perform fully to their ability level without being restricted by the test. Two types of testing effect might occur, namely ceiling effect and floor effect. Performance assessment. Another way to classify achievement tests is whether they are verbal or performance tests. The most common achievement tests are paper and pencil tests measuring cognitive objectives. Performance assessment, usually administered individually, is a popular alternative to traditional paper and pencil tests among educators. A performance test is a technique in which a researcher directly observes and assists an individual perform of a certain test and or judges the finished product of that performance. Construction a performance test. The create a performance test follow these three basic steps. 1. Begin with a clear statement of the objective and what individual will be asked to do and the condition under which the task will be performed. 2. Profit a problem or an exercise that gives student an opportunity to perform either a stimulation or an actual task. 3. Develop an instrument, checking, rating scale, or something similar that lists the relevant criteria to use in evaluating the performance and or the product. Aptitude test. Aptitude tests differ from assessment tests in that aptitude tests attempt to measure general ability or potential for learning a body of knowledge and skill, whereas assessment tests attempt to measure the actual extent of acquired knowledge and skill in specific areas.
Measure of personality. Education research frequently use personality measurement. There are several different types of personality measurement, each reflecting a different theoretical viewpoint. Some reflect of the theories of brain and patterns, while others have their origin of psychological and motivation theories. Research must know exactly what they want to measure and then select the instrument, paying special attention to proving in validity. There are two approaches to personality measurement. The first is objective personality assessment. It's a self-report inventories present subject with an extensive collection of statements describing behavior patterns and ask them to indicate whether or not each statement is characteristic of their behavior by checking yes, no, or uncertain. And the second is projective personality assessment. Projective technique or measurement where a person is asked to react to an ambiguous or unstructured stimulus. Scales. Scales are usually used to measure attitude, values, opinions, and other characteristics that are not easily measured by tests or other measuring instruments, whereas a scale is a set of categories or numeric value assigned to individuals, objects, or behavior that are used for the purpose of measuring variables. Likert scales in 1932, named after the Francis Likert who developed the method, is one of the most widely used techniques for measuring attitude. The Likert scale assesses attitude towards a topic by presenting a series of statements about the topic and asking respondents to indicate whether they strongly agree, agree, doubt, disagree, or strongly disagree, and respectively. There are methods of semantic ratings by Likert. The first is item analysis. After administering the attitude scale to a preliminary group of respondents, the research does an item analysis to identify the best function item. The second is validity. Validity is concerned the extent to which the scale really measures the attitude construct of interest. And the last is reliability is the of the new scale must also be determined. Reliability is concerned with the extent to which the measure would yield consistent results each time it is used. Rating scales. Rating scales present a number of statements about a behavior, an activity, or a phenomenon with an accompanying scales of categories. Observers or respondents are asked to indicate their assessment or judgment about the behavior or activity on the rating scales.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ghaida Ayu P. I would like to explain about Introduction to Research Method. Comparative Rating Scale. In a comparative rating scale, in contrast, raters are instructed to make their judgment by referring directly to the position of others with whom the individual can be compared. Errors in judgment because ratings depends on the perceptions of human observers, who are susceptible to various influence. Rating scale are subject to considerable error. The next slide is direct observations. The purpose is to determine the extent to which certain behaviors are present. 5 important first steps to take in preparing direct quantitative observation is: number 1, select aspect of the behavior to be observed. Clearly define the behavior that fall into selected category. 3, develop a system for measuring observations. 4, develop a specific procedure for recording the behavior. 5, train those who will make observations. The next slide is device for observation recording. Researchers use checklists, rating scale, and coding sheet to record the data selected in direct observations. Rating scale, often used by observers to show their evaluation of the observed behavior or activity. Encoding system used in observational studies to facilitate categorizing and counting certain predetermined behaviors as they occur. The next slide is advantage and disadvantage of direct observations. The advantage is it provides a record of the actual behavior that occurred. Systematic observations can be used in natural settings. The disadvantage is the cost. Observation is more expensive because of the time required by trained observers. The next slide is validity and reliability of direct observations. As with other types of measurement, the validity and reliability of direct observations must be assessed. The best way to increase validity is to carefully define the behavior to be observed and train the people who will make the observation. Observers must be aware of two sorts of bias affecting validity: observer bias and observer effect. The next slide is limit observation. One form of artificial observation is a situational test. A classic example of situational test, although not labeled at the time, was used in a series of studies by Hartshorne and May 1928 for the CEI. The test is designed to be used in studying the development of behavioral characteristics such as honesty, self-control, and cooperation. The next slide, data collection in qualitative research. Qualitative researchers also have a number of data collection tools available for their investigations. The tools most used in qualitative research are interviews, document analysis, and observations. Thank you.